We are back. It's going to look so good. I just can't wait. Welcome back to the War Room. Bam, we are so good. We're supposed to have OG Bobby Johnson himself, Bobby Oller. He's coming on. Ben's going to come on here. Ben always big times. Why does Ben big time is so bad? Is it because he's an officer?
He just shows up whenever he wants to.
He knows
on time.
He knows what time the live is. We'll talk to him. We have all the stuff. We're in here 20 minutes early talking about stuff, doing stuff, having a little backstage show. That's what they call it in the biz. And then Ben just hops up whenever it is he feels like. Bobby was on here, was fine, didn't say he had to go. He just bounced out. So what's up, Jay? How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Ben just jumps on here all fucking oiled up with baby oil. Look like he just came from a Diddy party. You know what I mean?
Man, hold on. You know what? The first share of the day, I can't wait to play this. We've got Leonard Washington. He's in here. If you guys don't know who Leonard Washington is, boy, do I have a surprise for you. Leonard Washington got a hot hand on the dice game. Let's go. How would Leonard Washington parent?
Unhealthy breakfast.
You hate seeing the ad.
The gym early.
You hate
That's
it.
Right.
He's not parenting like that.
This time we're really zeroing in on that big. Welcome to the deep dive.
I can't do it. You know what? I'm sick of it. Leonard Washington. You guys know Leonard Washington.
Leonard Washington, what's up, buddy? What are you up to?
Shit, baby, I'm out here busting their ass, motherfucking grits and gravy. Boom.
Grits and gravy. How do you know what grits and gravy is?
I took that gold Trump ticket. That motherfucker there is the same one Grandpa Joe was trying to get up in the Willy Wonka chocolate factory with his lazy ass.
I don't know why you're quiet again, but you are quiet again, you piece of shit.
Oh, hey, Bobby, you're low again. So if you can turn your gains up.
If you can figure it out for once, Bobby.
What's going on, man? Ever since I had that thing with the FBI the other day and I busted them and shit, they've been giving me a hard time.
That you think the FBI turned your gain down on your mic?
Yeah. They don't want my voice. They don't want me voiced.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it is, Bobby. I just think your mic is just not up.
Well, everybody, you know Leonard Washington, a.k.a. Bobby Oller. He is the guy that is bringing light to a whole lot of darkness here. He's involved with a great 501c3. Bobby, tell us about you. Tell us about the mission, bro.
Oh, yeah, I quit him the other day. So
okay, tight. Well, fuck it. Never mind. Everybody follow Bobby wherever it is that you can find him. That's great. That could have been information for the host beforehand. That would have been good stuff to.
Well, I didn't want to lie to you. I didn't want nobody to put their money out there. I got my reasons. We'll talk about that another time.
Okay.
I'm looking into my, I'm in my dice game mostly these days. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
anybody
did you quit them or did they quit you because of your gambling habits, Bobby?
You see that watch right there? That's what time it was. All right. I took this motherfucker off of mine the other day. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my Lord. Bobby, do us a favor and try to fix your gains so we can hear you a little bit better. Because again, you're super low on it. Yeah, you're like super low. And then
talk to me, baby.
Dude, I think Ben is supposed to be on. I don't know what he's got going on, but he should be joining us here.
I'm just excited. Soon. I'm just glad to see you guys' shining faces. We got Leonard Washington, hot hand in a dice game like his friend Tron, just buying a baby straight cash. I'm here for it.
Yeah, we're not on live, are we?
Yeah, we're live, son.
Oh, shit.
You might have to leave the studio and then select the correct microphone and then come back in. That might be what you got to do. Okay.
All right. We'll see you in a minute, Bobby.
God dang it. Man, Jay Dorleus, Green Beret Chronicles, the man, the myth, the legend.
Oh, my God.
Tell everybody what you've been getting up to, man, while we're waiting on Bobby to figure it out. Jesus H.
Oh, man. Hey, what's going on, folks? Appreciate you guys tuning in this evening. Dude, the channel's been growing, all right? So if this is you guys' first time seeing us, because I think we got, over 2,000 subscribers within the last week. right? Jay Dorleus, retired U.S. Army Green Beret, spent 20-ish years in the military, 15 of it as a Green Beret, and now I'm on YouTube to hopefully coach and teach the next generation of, you know what, it used to be soft soldiers, now it's just soldiers in general, because there's a lot of fuckery going on within the U.S. military. So whatever I can do to help, that's what I'm here for. So yeah, welcome to the War Room, folks.
Yeah, for you guys that don't know me, Aaron Love, I was in the Air Force for 22 years, 18 of it I was a pararescueman or a PJ, if that's how you know us by. I have the Ones Ready podcast. We've been running that for about 5 years, approaching episode 500 now. And all we do there is the same thing that Jay does for the Army, is we try to teach you how to be the best airman ever. If you want to be a combat controller, a special reconnaissance airman, if you want to be a special tactics officer, a pararescueman, TACP, anything, we got you. We have a ton of a huge network of recruiters. We can help you get from step one all the way through putting that beret on. You can also find me over on Instagram at Aaron Loves America. That's my other page where we get spicy and we talk about the downfall of this country and how we're going to stop it together. That's the stuff that I care about. Bobby, do you have a microphone that works?
Can you hear me?
Oh, it's getting better. Can you talk like a normal person or no?
No, I can talk like a normal person. Is this? Am I up there yet?
You're
still pretty low.
Your chat is Bobby still quiet to y'all? Do you guys hear him being quiet? Just let us know in the chat. I'll check it out. Okay,
yeah, because I can't hear you as loud, Bobby. But
I don't want to mansplain to you, Bobby. But did you select
It's a brand fucking new. I just got this from Walmart.
Did you check when you log into Riverside? It asks you what mic you're gonna have, and then can you see that microphone that you're recording on now if you hover over the mic button?
Solo cast.
Okay. All right. Well, if you can't get comms, you got to get comms. That's what they say.
Hey.
Yeah, it's wild because you were high earlier, so it's like you left and came back in, and then now we can't hear you. Yeah, so the chat is saying you're low, Bobby. So you just got to troubleshoot that.
What about now?
Still low.
Still low. All right.
Yeah, so they won't let you fix your mic. I think you have to go and then come back in.
Yeah, right? You have to go. Yeah. Now he's muted. I love this so much. It's so good. I love it. I'll tell you what, no more shaming Jay on this show ever again for his connectivity issues. He's crushed it every time that he comes back on. He looks good.
Dude, I had to buy new equipment, man.
You got skincare. It looks nice. Black don't crack. You're looking great. Somebody told me today that I don't look like I just turned 45. They were like, man, I wouldn't put you over 30s. I was like, oh, that's nice of you. I think that dude is trying to fuck, though.
He's been to those Diddy parties.
Hey. I was like, sir, I am married. I am happily married. You need to stop. Because it wasn't just like, oh, you look good for your age. It was like, oh, man, you look really good. What do you do? Like, do you want to hang out later? And I was like, dude, do you not feel like this is a weird conversation to be having with another grown man? Like, can I just get a haircut? No? All right, sorry.
Now you trying to do what all the retirees do, Aaron, and grow out a beard and all that shit. No. I don't know what it is, but that's never been my thing, man.
Yeah, no, I can't do the beard thing. So I wore a helmet for so long that like on the side of my face here, it just does not grow in. So I get like a real low class, like Joe Dirt sort of thing where it only grows like in this area. I do have a badass Fu Manchu that I can grow, but I can't even do like the goatee. Like if I could just get like a pair of gas cans and then like the old Oakley gas cans and then have that goatee, like I would change all my profile pictures immediately. I'd start telling, oh my goodness, Ben. What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
What happened? What is it? For a minute when you said that, I thought, honestly, Aaron, I was like, oh shit, what did I do?
We were shaming you because just like everybody else, you big time us, and you're like, oh yeah, man, I know honestly, what the start time is. You've never made it.
I know. I apologize, and I do. I feel bad.
Hey, he's got meetings, okay?
No. 100% today. It was like just kind of dealing with some stuff, and then all of a sudden I'm like sat down. And I'm like, fuck the camera. Fuck the cable, all this bullshit. And I'm like, I know there's no excuse. So,
hey, but we're here now. That's all that matters.
Amen.
You're here now.
So, Ben, we got a lot of new followers, man. We already hit these intros. So, Ben, MARSOC Raider, the plank owner in the organization. Tell everybody who you are, what you care about, where you came from.
Yeah, hey, everybody. I'm Ben Pappas. Former Marine Raider, Marine Special Operations, was in Force Recon, the infantry, did a lot of different stuff in my Marine Corps career. retired as lieutenant colonel. Right now I do executive coaching, leadership and life coaching, help people build their teams, do inspirational speaking, all those things. So really what I focus on is I try to take my life lessons, things that I learned in the military, and as a national level strategist and planner, and I try to apply that to businesses, teams, and then to your life, to people's lives. So, I always think that probably if I can do one thing in my life, and none of us know how long we have on this earth, right? But if I can help people to live better and to change their lives and to achieve more in their life from my own journey, then I've done something. So that's who I am. That's what I care about. And really happy to be here with these guys. And thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Dude, where I don't know what Jake is doing, but hopefully he's crushing it.
Am I loud? Am I loud now?
Yeah, you sound
that's
way better, brother. You got it, man. Bobby Oller, I'm so proud of you. You were great.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Motherfucker, 7 come 11 one time.
All right. So shout out to Jake and Nate. They're probably out there crushing it somewhere. All right. They'll probably be
Nate's probably arrested. I'll tell you what, if me and Nate's Instagram group chat ever gets leaked, we are going to jail, brother. We are going directly to jail. 100%. The unhinged stuff that he sends, and it'll just be like rapid fire. It'll be like 4 reels and all of it unhinged. I'm like, what? Brother,
That's
like
awesome.
if Nate is not being detained right now, I am not sure where Nate is. I believe he's teaching a course though. Isn't he out of town?
I think he's in Texas or something teaching a course. But wherever you guys are, man, shout out to you and keep crushing it as usual. Dude, so I ran into an article earlier that is not on the docket to cover, but I think it's an interesting one. And this is going to go to Ben first, since he's our resident self-help person. And this article just blew my mind, man. And I think as fathers on the panel and as fathers watching us live, like the amount of influence you have on your kids, it's just, ridiculous. Like we hold like really lives in our hands that we can either make or break, right? So in a shocking and highly publicized event, an OnlyFans model named Ania Lewiska from Poland.
Don't Google it. Google it.
Claimed to have slept with over 500 men in the span of 6 hours in order to break a sexual world record.
Yeah.
Right. She was hospitalized for 2 days, right, from bleeding due to this shit.
I feel like she's chasing pills.
Dude, as I'm reading this article, because again, it's just certain shit just catches your eyes, and you're like, oh man, this girl must have some proud parents. Like what are we doing here? And I just wanted to get you guys' feedback, because when you see things like this, you can't help but wonder, like, man, like, why are people doing this type of shit? Is it for self-worth? Is it for the clicks? Is it for the likes? Is it for notoriety? Like, what would lead somebody to go down this path? And I know we're not, psychs on here, but I'm just curious as for, like, man, like, why are people doing this shit? If you had to take a stab at it, Ben, what would you say would cause somebody to go down such an extreme path?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. A couple things pop into mind, right? So, I mean, one of the biggest drivers we all have, and this is like something when I work with people, I talk about this in my speaking too. But we have these different key motivations and these core vital human interests. So it's like the vital interests of a nation state, right? I kind of distill that down to people. So one of them is to be respected, right? But in a weird flip, you're trying to get respect and to act like, to get this feeling that you matter and doing something different through something that's not good for you. So the vehicles we choose, like the things we choose to do in order to fulfill our needs and these motivations matter. They matter a lot. Like, so you can choose to become, a sports star. A lot of us, we went into sports, went into the military because, we want to be respected. We wanted to do something to challenge ourselves, wanted to grow. These are all important things. So we get that, connection, the admiration with a group of people we admire, all this stuff like that. These are healthy, good ways to do it. I mean, sometimes obviously some things in the military, not so healthy for your life, pretty dangerous too, but they're healthy in the terms of virtues, right? These things that, they're redeemable qualities. You want to aspire to these things and you can live with them even when you physically break down and, still have inner peace and know that you belong, know that you matter, okay, to the community and have respect and all these things like that. And respect is really important. And so I think at some point they look at the money they can make, they look at the attention they can get, they look at the connection, the love, the attention they're getting, because there's some gap there. So they try to fulfill it in that way. And then economically, obviously that's a very real thing, but they're trying to make easy money. And then she's probably challenged. I have no idea, but I'm guessing she's thinking, I need to do a stunt. I need to do a stunt to boost my ratings, get more people to watch me, I need to make quick money. Who knows what's going on in her life? But then they do this stunt that's, you can't sustain this. And it's never going to go away. So these are, you know what I'm saying?
It's definitely not sustainable.
Yeah, you know in many ways. But I mean, like this is not healthy for you. You got to choose a different pathway, right? So that's what I think. So I think there's a lot of deep psychological drivers going on, the attention, the easy money, all these things, and so the way you choose to meet these needs and to meet these interests, right? These core vital human interests, these key motivations matters. It matters to your mental health, your well-being, your future respect, your future influence, your future well-being, health, all those things. So that's, I think somewhere in there, like the immediate tactical reason, I don't know, but somewhere in there, the deep-rooted reasons are for that. That's what I would say.
Dude, the first thing that came to mind was, you know what? Where the fuck is Jake right now?
What I want to say is, I want to understand, Ben just turned somebody getting fucked 535 times into being something positive and some shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, we're on the same goddamn conversation.
No, man, that's not what I'm saying.
I'm like, as I'm eating this fucking cream pie, listening to him.
Give me one of those. Let me see.
I'm like,
all right, two terms you guys do not need to Google. You don't need to check out this chick's OnlyFans page, and don't Google Bobby Oller cream pie. That's not going to work out for you.
Bobby, I know, I know you have daughters. What are your thoughts, and what's one thing that you did throughout your you raising your kids to make sure like they didn't end up on the pole or end up on OnlyFans?
Threats. I'm sorry, man. Like I'll embarrass you. I will come snatch your ass. And now, man, I was always big on making the girls like understand that. Yeah, you might see a girl that dudes are trying to holler at the club, but you go see who all of us. Everybody wants to marry a lady. You know what I'm saying? So have some damn class. I understand. You're attractive and whatnot, but that's what I never even enjoyed a strip club because I need something for the imagination, man. You know what I mean? Aaron, quit fucking smiling.
You were a liar. You're a fucking liar.
I was worse at the strip club. You didn't want to go. The only time I went to the strip club was they had two. You could they had that Ballers on a Budget, 2 for $20, and you got to pick your own songs. So hey, Stairway to Heaven, and then I had a song by Meatloaf. I told that bitch she better have some cardio because we have 46 minutes together.
What are your two songs? Freebird, the extended version, and Metallica's One, the 9-minute version.
No, real shit. I don't know where the hell Ben was going. He's the most positive person I've ever met in my life. I think she's disgusting. If she can't find a better way to do something to learn, make some money, because now it's like looking up a damn hollow log. That's all she'll be known for the rest of her life. Yeah,
and it's unfortunate because if this lady ever,
you can't do nothing with her now. She got to change her whole ass name.
Well, yeah, even that, and if she chooses to, doing 180 and no longer wants to do this, it's going to be out there, right? And her kids are going to have to deal with it, and her kids are going to have to deal with it.
It's terrible.
And it's like, I don't think people.
She wouldn't even know she was pregnant. Okay?
Yeah. She don't even like.
A
lot of these people don't even think about the second and third world effects.
I ordered it out and like had a measurement. You're like, all right, man. It just says 535. There ain't got to be no killers.
So your problem was with logistics.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like right. you gotta do the whole thing.
Oh man. Aaron, what are your thoughts on this? Because I know you also have daughters. Like,
man, it's just sad, but I'll answer like, what do you do if you're a girl dad, man? You got to give that girl all the love that you possibly can. You got to say all those things. Listen, man, I have game. I spit game because baby, I can't talk it. Nelly said that, but he got that from me. We're both from the Midwest, although he's from St. Louis. But listen, man, like, and I saw a video about MGK, like Machine Gun Kelly, that was a rapper from Cleveland, and then he's doing his weird shit now. But man, they talk about him being a girl dad, and he's like, no. He was like, the first person to tell my daughter that she's beautiful and that she can do anything is not going to be some dude that's trying to fuck her later in life. It's going to be me when she is a little kid. He's like, by the time that my daughter gets old enough to make these decisions, she's going to know that her dad thinks that she's beautiful and that she's great. And she she's going to hear all those things from me first. So it just makes me sad. Like, it makes me sad for the people that are looking at these. Like, why is there a market for this? Who is watching this? Like, why are you creating content for this? That's that's the most disgusting
they got bestiality porn. So, I mean, there's all kind of weird shit out there. I mean, people, I mean, I get it. So for me, man, like, your number one job as a dad is you keep your daughter off a pole and you keep your son out of jail, right? And you got to do that their entire life. Like, your job isn't done when they, my son's about to turn 18 here in August. He just graduated from high school. My job isn't done. I'm not like, okay, cool, time to move on. No, like, you got to guide that young man. You got to guide my daughter. Like, my daughter and I have very open and honest talks about all kinds of stuff, because that's my job as a dad. Is to, you don't want to raise a child that is able to be in that place. Like, if she's already thinking about doing, like, she's already has an OnlyFans, she's already doing porn. Like, there's a long backstory to how it is that she got there, and I don't have any judgments for her. Like, she's an adult, she's making that choice on her own with her own consent, from what I can understand from the story. But listen, man, like, you got to start that when they're young, when they're children, when they're little babies. Can I ask a serious question between all the guys? Coming when we were all coming up or whatnot, and I'm sure, I mean, everybody was a fit and all the guys, everybody's attractive. Like, I was absolutely terrified to get a girl pregnant. Like, when I was like 20, 21, like, I was terrified. Like, it wasn't gonna happen. So I don't know how y'all are about that shit, but I mean, it was absolutely like a loathing fear of mine.
Yeah. What's the question, Bobby?
Yeah.
Well, the question is how did y'all feel, back then in 19, 20, 21? I don't even have to ask Ben up there, but Aaron looked a little scandalous, and Jay, we all know about you.
Man, we like any young man, we all make bad decisions, right? But I had a very consequence-driven childhood. Like, my parents really were like, hey, when you're 18, like, we've made all the decisions we can make. Like, you're going to make your own decisions, and these are the consequences of what you're going to have. Like, my brother had a baby very young. I think him and his girlfriend were 17, right? Like, that guy is, I watched him deal with that. I watched him deal with having a son really, really young. And it's been great, and they have a great relationship, and everything is good now, but that's definitely not the way that you want to go about it, man. Like, he lived a really, really hard life for that entire time, for his entire age. Like, and now it's cool that they're like kind of close in age and stuff, and he's not really that old, and he's going to be able to guide him later in life. And that's a good thing if I was trying to be Ben about it and be positive and on the backside. But man, I'll be.
It's just odd. You see grandmas nowadays are 46,
Real quick, but understand that when I'm analyzing why someone does what they do, it's not being positive. Okay.
Right.
It's just like a military operation. Why are we doing what we're doing? This is being positive. What's positive?
I was just picking, Ben.
I understand. But it's important to say it, because if I keep letting it be said, then I'm allowing bullshit, this bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not what I do. I'm not a real, I think positivity is important, but for the right reasons, attaching it to the right process. I think analyzing why you do what you do can help you get ahead of doing dumb things later. If you don't understand that, I'm feeling that feeling now. Well, why are you feeling that? Because I'm going to get the dopamine hit I want to get. Okay, well, why? Because I'm going to feel better myself. I'm going to seem like I'm respected. People are going to like me, all these different things. When you can break that shit down, you can see it coming at you like the Matrix. And you're like, all right, don't do that. Move aside. No one's perfect, especially when you're under the influence. That's
right.
Bigger. But understand, you got to analyze why you do what you do and understand it, and understand the wave coming at you. So you understand that it's like when you're in the ocean, the wave's coming at you. Understand where the danger zone is in that wave, where not to jump on it, when to duck under it, all that stuff. But what I will say is that the biggest thing about this is, how did she get there? But understand this for everybody, especially in the audience too, anybody young out there listening, even any idea, somebody's into this stuff, the consequences downstream is what you got to think about. You know, it's the consequences downstream. When you do this, you get into this, it's like Bobby was saying, who's going to want to be with you? I don't know. Who's going to want to be with you? What's your friend group? Show me your friends. I'll show you your future. Simple. Show me the 5 people you spend the most time with. I'll show you your future. That's it. And this is what you want to do. You couldn't pay me enough money because that money means nothing, you know?
Yeah. Well,
maybe there is a number, you know, we're talking about but I'm saying it's, you know, you got to think about the downstream effects. That's the biggest thing. Think these things through, walk it through. If you do that, what's life like a year later, 2 years, 5 years later, 10 years later? What's it like? What about the aftermath? So
now, Ben, you said something really important there, and I just want to get you guys' feedback on that. You said, show me, you know, for example, your friend group, right? Like your top 5 of your friends that you hang out with, and I'll show you who you are and what your future is going to look like. What advice would you give somebody that don't have any positive friends or positive role models? Because I know, you know, like for instance, in my case, like I'm not a big extrovert, right? Like I don't like, yeah, when I was at group and I was in the military, yeah, I had friends everywhere, right? But now that I'm retired and I'm business oriented, I'm very goal focused. I don't really hang out with like people like that. So my friend group all dead, right? Not necessarily like people that I knew that died, but like I study folks that are no longer here. Your Jim Rome, your like your Thomas Edison. Like I read a lot of autobiography, and that's like my friend group, right? Like I'm always looking up to them, and I'm reading and I'm learning from them, even though they're no longer here. What advice would you give, you know, somebody watching that don't have access to positive friends like we have on the panel? Like, what advice would you give them?
I mean, I think you just gave it. Everything you just said is perfect, spot on. I mean, the eagle soars alone, right? I mean, we have the lone wolf for a reason, you know. I mean, because I wouldn't lower yourself. Not to say like you, not in the sense that we're, you know, there are a lot of great people out there, but if it doesn't match up with who you want to be, you got to be careful who you hang around with. They can be great people, but if you don't really admire them for their qualities and for what they're accomplishing, then I mean, ask yourself, do you really want to be hanging out and wasting your time? You know, I think you do need community. You need community and you need social interaction. But if it doesn't feel right, doesn't feel like a good fit, doesn't feel like alignment, then don't do it, man. But Jay, you said it perfectly. I mean, you know, study, associate, find a group. There are people out there you can find. Join a club, join a group. Like you guys, I was spending time with you guys being on here. And I was just going to say, it's a great podcast, man. We got such great
advice. This is something that I always did is, you know, you always have that group that's the fun group to go party with or whatnot, but they never have anything going for them. You know what I mean? Like these guys are giving plasma to go party on the weekend. Yeah, they're a lot of fun or whatnot, but I mean, you don't want to be involved.
That just registered, by the way. That was a good one, Bobby.
You don't want. Nice. I mean, I've been there. That's how I got home on a bus ride. Anyway, but you don't want to. Yeah, they're great and all, but that's not the guy you want to go into business with. So, you know, as I started getting older, it's like, okay, you got all these guys over here that are scheming, and all they're doing is looking for the other person to make it to ride off their back, you know. So what I started doing is, you know, I made myself valuable, you know, with my skills or whatnot, and I started putting myself into places where people would see that and they wanted to have me around. Well, these were people that own land, bank owners, things of that sort. Once they saw me around, well, they saw wealth in me, they saw value. And I'm not saying that they're using me, but they have, I mean, they're using, I will say to a point, but I'm also doing the same for them because they're going to put me on more work somewhere else. Like so basically networking at that point. And it's all about what do you want to do? But you start getting our age or whatnot, it's like, okay, man, like I got to get this damn house paid for and all this other stuff because I'm not trying to be 65 at the fucking door of Walmart checking receipts. All right. And I'm not banking on Social Security. But if you sit around negative people, you will do negative shit. If, you know, it's the old saying, what's it, you know, one bad apple will ruin them all. And that's the same on the job site. In a team, one guy that gripes, he gets the second guy griping, and then the next thing you know, you got a damn mutiny on your hands. So, I mean, you basically put yourself where you want to be at in life. And I don't give a damn what anybody says about me, or if I'm kissing ass or this or that. I'm trying to learn a little something and trying to do it without having to be the hard way.
Absolutely. Aaron, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, man, you can't fly with the eagles if you hang out with turkeys, man. Like, it just is what it is. I said this in the group chat the other day. Every single person on our little war room group chat is an absolute fucking savage. Like, I have to try hard to keep up. My page isn't as big as Nate's, but I want it to be. My page isn't as big as Jay's, but I want it to be. I'm not doing the speaking gigs that Ben's doing. I'm not bringing good to the world the way that Bobby Oller is doing it. I'm not doing the things that Jake's doing with his influence and his experience, but that's the point. You should have friends. If you're the strongest people in the gym, you're in the wrong gym. If you're the best jiu-jitsu athlete in your gym, you're in the wrong gym. If you're the best person in your friend group, you're in the wrong friend group. You need to find people that push you. Like iron sharpens iron. We sharpen each other. You're there to push your friends. You're not just there to, I might give you a shoulder to cry on, but when you're done, I might say, hey, you little bitch, lock in, get your shit together. That's not what we do here. You need people like that. And if you hang around people that are dragging you down, man, it's exactly what happens. And Bobby's exactly right. You're hanging around those bros that are selling their plasma to go out to the bar because it gets them drunk faster. And that they may be fun to party with, but man, I ain't trying to party. I'm trying to win. And you got to find winners.
Man, I mean, I know Good Time Charlie. Like, I've been there. I've done all that shit. Like, I'm trying to motherfucking win yard of the month. Stuff like that. It's different. Yeah. And I like being around professionals and guys like I told Jay, I really appreciate y'all letting me come in because I don't really have people to talk to. And even though I do like to laugh and bullshit, I do have a whole serious different side of me. And it's not nice to talk to like-minded individuals, obviously. And I like to be able to ask y'all questions for advice. I don't want you to do it for me. Yeah. Lead me in the right direction.
I'm a big fan of quotes that people fuck up all the time. Like people fuck up like quotes all the time. They don't ever say the second part of it. Great minds think alike, but fools rarely differ. If you're having a conversation with your friends and they're not telling you you're wrong every once in a while, you're hanging around fools.
Yeah. And this is a great example. And I like that we're talking about this because we'll use Bobby as a case study, right? So Bobby reached out to me like, dude, it was like a year ago when I was on YouTube doing content, and Bobby reached out. And he was just adding value, right? Because again, you meet all these different people through, the social media realm. Like they'll email you, they'll send you Instagram shit here and there, and you kind of blow them off, right? Hoping they'll go away. But it was like, man, at every turn, Bobby was just adding. No,
it's so true, like, man. It's 100% true, man. Yeah,
it is. But you meet all these different people, but Bobby just kept adding value to me. Like he just kept like at every corner. He just kept adding value, kept reaching out. And a year plus later, he's right here on the panel, still adding value, right? So it's like, even if you don't have positive people in your life around you, just find somebody that you can add value to. Find somebody that's miles ahead of you and just add value, The
reason I did it, I see things with Jay it's like he was putting out a good message. He's always got a good platform. I could tell he wasn't grifting. And if it's like something I can help, I don't want anything in return. Like if I have something I can give you or something, and it's, or point you in a direction on something you're working on, man, just take it. Like, I mean, it means it's stuff. Like it's just knowledge. Like, everybody's just as smart as where you're standing. I've seen things that people wouldn't believe because it's not wrote about, but I was there, and I got the fucking pictures to prove it. Yeah. So if an event comes up, I'm going to tell you.
There's a lot of stuff to unpack right there. The stuff you said. But Aaron, I got another one, a quote that's, sometimes gotten wrong. But, people quote John Lennon, and really what he said was, some say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not. If you've seen Dinner for Schmucks, he's like, no, it's not. I'm not. I'm not the only one. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
And he's like, looks at me blinking. He's like, no, Steve Carell's blinking at him.
It's just blink. Yeah.
Some say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not. He's like, no, I'm not the only one. Anyway.
Shout out to Peaches. Shout out to Peaches in the chat, supporting the boys as always. We appreciate you. To end this one, and then we'll transition to our first story. One quote, well, it's not necessarily a quote, but a saying that I tell to all my siblings, especially as they start having kids. It's like, man, once you start having kids, it's no longer about you, right? You got to understand, like, you can't be selfish anymore. It's about that person that didn't ask to be born, but is now here, and they're your priority at this point. So everything you do, however you move, needs to be to make that little person that's going to eventually become a big person that can disown you proud of you, right? Like that's what your job is once you decide to have that kid. And I think a lot of people don't get that. And then that's how we have these freaking degenerates or net negative people to society that joins the world and just make it, worse than it needs to be. So shout out to all the good fathers and good mothers out there, right? Let's keep rushing it. So our first story, Joe Biden has cancer, all right? So, and it's not just regular cancer. It's like really bad. You're about to die type cancer.
Turbo cancer. It's turbo cancer.
Yeah. So this article came out, I want to say it was this week that they came out and broke the news that, former President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with, I think it's prostate cancer. And from all the physicians, from all the experts that are making their social media around, the message is consistent that, hey, this is nothing new. He had to have this for at least 5 to 10 years, which means during his presidency, he had cancer. While he was running, he had cancer, and that information was withheld from us as American citizens. We'll go to you first, Aaron, because I know you're well versed in this political arena. What are your thoughts when you're reading about this? Like, how can we as citizens trust the government if they're keeping this type of information from us?
Let's just get some facts out there. So they announced that Joe Biden this week, on the same day that the Her tapes dropped, by the way. So the Her tapes were tapes of Joe Biden. It was when we were going through the documents case. And Her, the investigator, basically said, there's no way we could prosecute Joe Biden, not because he did something wrong, but because he's so mentally and cognitively impaired that it would be there would be no purpose to even prosecuting him. That's what Her said. So on the same day this dropped, the White House came out and said that Joe Biden has aggressive prostate cancer at a Gleason score of 9, and that had metastasized to his bones. Now, what this means, first and foremost, any medical student in their first year would automatically give anyone a blood test. This can be found easily through a blood test, or as Bobby Oller is very familiar with, a prostate exam. You can find this with 99% accuracy, right? There's some people out there in the space that are like, well, you kind of stop testing people for this prostate cancer when they get to a certain age because it's such a slow progression. He's the president. The doctor of the White House gave him a clean bill of health for the last 3 times, except for 2022, when they didn't make his public health records available. So what this means is he 100% had this. He 100% had cancer for a very long time. They didn't miss it. This isn't a Hanlon's razor sort of scenario. Hanlon's razor always says assume incompetence before you assume maliciousness. Everything about his diagnosis, everything about the drop is disingenuous. There is no first-year medical student that would miss this diagnosis on an 82-year-old dude that is got the nuclear codes, okay? Some other things that kind of play into this. Everybody talks about his cognitive decline. Well, 2 facts for you. Number 1, President Joe Biden took 577 days. That was about 40% of his presidency where he was on vacation. It was the most president in the last 50 years. You know why? Because it looks like he was in fucking cancer treatment, everybody. It looks like he needed to take those days off. And when you roll the cognitive decline into it, there's 2 studies, one by JAMA and one by the Institute of Oncology, that came out that said unequivocally that the cancer treatments that you use have impacts to both early onset dementia and cognitive performance, along with other stuff like fatigue and the bruising that we saw on Joe Biden, and ataxia, which means you can't walk up the stairs to Air Force One. So when you take all of those facts and put them together, I can't give you a conclusion there. I can just lay the breadcrumbs. Here is my opinion. Joe Biden had cancer. He was under treatment. Those cancer drugs probably exacerbated a pre-existing condition of dementia, which they also held. And this was as early as 2020. He served his entire term cognitively impaired. And we're going to talk about some of the fallout from that here in a second. We've got a couple more articles and a couple videos. But that's the bottom line on this one. You don't just magically pop up in the last 100 days with a diagnosis of an aggressive prostate cancer that is metastasized to your bone with a Gleason score of 9. That's just the facts of the matter.
Bobby, what are your thoughts?
Fuck him. Okay.
Jesus.
I'm going to say it out loud. Just because somebody's sick don't take away fucking all them bad years and being a piece of shit and robbing and stealing, man. I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for the man at all. It is what it is. He let some people play him and everything else. He wanted to be the puppet his whole life. So, I mean, you reap what you sow in the end. If you would have been a good man, like people would have cared about you, there'd have been something for you. And I'm sure they'll do some fake ass bullshit for him but I'll never forget who he was.
Yeah, and just one thing on that. Like from my personal optic, as a human, of course, I can feel bad for this dude at the end of his life. This is a painful diagnosis. It's going to ruin his life as a human, right? As the human Joe Biden, man, that sucks. I hope he finds a way through it. He probably isn't. This is going to kill Joe Biden, and that sucks as a human. Completely separate of that, if we leave all of that aside, Joe Biden committed what I think are crimes, and every single EO, every single pardon, every single executive action, every single thing that he did to ruin this country from 2021 to 2024 needs to be looked at with a skeptical eye, because you cannot keep those two things in your head without separating them completely. Joe Biden, the human, man, that sucks. I had a grandma with dementia. I was closest to my grandma. She didn't raise me. I had a great mom. I spent every single day with my grandma Kilroy from the time that I was born until I was 7 years old. Very funny story about my grandma comes over. There was a snowstorm and I was just screaming and my mom couldn't figure out why. And it's because I wanted to go to the closet to get my snowsuit to go to my grandma's house. That's how close we were. I watched her in a slow descent of both cancer and dementia at the end of her life. And it was terrible. It's one of the most traumatic experiences of my life because I love that woman. I know how bad it sucks for his family. All that aside, Joe Biden hurt this country. And from what I can see by these diagnoses, he did it at a cognitively impaired state. If a guy that was 82 years old goes into a bank and he signs up for a loan, and then his lawyer comes back and goes, hey, hold on, you gave this guy a loan. This guy has early onset dementia and a cancer diagnosis like Joe Biden has. They would cancel that loan. They would throw it out. You can't legally agree to something if you're that impaired, and that's what happened.
Ben, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, like Aaron's saying, as a human, you know, it's definitely my heart goes out to his family and just for people who love him, because it's, you know, it's a terrible thing. It's hard to lose anyone you love. You know, I think also as a former president, you know, of the United States. You know, again, everything Aaron's saying right there, then, you know, that's not my thing. I don't really look that deeply into all those things, but I feel like almost every president, when they leave, there's always some group kind of bury them and say, you know, string them up, they're terrible, and all that stuff. So all things aside, as a human, you know, I think it's terrible. But what does concern me overall, is that, like you're saying, Jay, that concerns me. How come we're not being transparent? I know we have to have confidence in the president, but when it's really apparent, and it's on the national stage and the world stage, come on now. You know,
Jill Biden needs to go to fucking jail. Yeah. Jill Biden was the driver of that train. Jill and Hunter Biden kept him in front of the cameras and kept him in power, and that is a.
You think so?
It wasn't 100%. He debated
100%.
Okay.
When he won the presidency, the first time he debated Trump, you've never been around people that take Adderall or any of that stuff. They had him loaded. I mean, that dude was
loaded. You mean the first time? The first
time?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, first time.
They didn't even have a shit strong enough
at the end to do it. Hold on. All right. So
just hold your hand up.
Yeah, just hold on. No, hold on.
I'll mute him.
I'm biting at the apple. I'm going right now. And so, yeah, I think like you're saying, Jay, though, I think that what the important thing for me is trust from the American people in the government, in our political systems, in our institutions. And, you know, I think that's what concerns me. How come we don't know that? How come they can wheel somebody out on stage that is that bad, instead of saying, you know what, it is what it is. He's no longer fit. He can't debate Donald Trump, you know? So, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that concerns me with all of it. You know, aside from like the suffering, everything Aaron talked about before, you know, as a human being, harking on the family, all those things into him, it's terrible. But that's what concerns me. If this is something that has been there for a while, and if it is, in fact, as Aaron's saying, that, you know, due to the treatment, that's why he was in such decline, then that's a real problem. It's a real problem. And there's somebody that has to answer for that, you know? And if it's only him, well, then he is answering for it now. But I got to believe that there's a lot of co-conspirators, a lot of people who prop that whole thing up, because if you're declining that badly, it can't just be you alone.
The entire media, Jake Tapper has a book on it where he's talking about, I can't believe that they hid this for so long. Motherfucker, you hid it. You told us. You were doing it.
Yeah. But then, I mean, and that's my thing, is that why, you know, I just don't know. How can they expect people to have trust in the government when they're doing things like that? So you've got to be better than that. We got to be better than that.
Now, do you think there is any regaining trust in the government? because and it's like I was telling Aaron earlier, like maybe it's one of those things that as American citizens, like we just have to keep playing dumb, because it's like the more you discover about the government and what they've kept from you. Don't get me wrong, certain things we don't need to know, right? Area 51, whatever's going on over there, like I don't want to know it. But certain things when it comes to, you know, government, hey, the president has freaking cancer. Like, should he be making decisions? Like, he's the decision maker. If he's got cancer and who's making the decisions?
That's
right?
Like
someone who's really running the country.
Yeah. Someone knew something. I mean, I think for all of us, we've seen generally what right is supposed to look like, you know, in a good organization where people are being transparent. Obviously, no place is perfect. But so the four of us are informed. You know what I mean? Other people may just be confused and like, that doesn't seem right. I don't know why. We know why. You know?
I forget all the time that people aren't privy to the information we see as common.
Yeah.
And I forget that a lot.
Yep. There's a lot of normies, homie. Like once you take the red pill, there's no going back. And, you know, to answer the question about, you know, regaining trust, man, you can't fix a broken wagon wheel, but you can make a new one with the pieces. Like sunlight is the best disinfectant. We just got to open it up, call it what it is, accept it. People got to take accountability for what they did. And I'm talking real accountability. I'm not talking about somebody getting mad on a podcast or on MSNBC 13, whatever they call it now. Man, real accountability has to happen. Those staffers that held the auto pen and that signed those pardons, you got to go down. And that's breaking now. Like they found the names, they found out who was doing it. Like, I'm sorry. Like everybody
that's a co-conspirator. If you knowingly helped, and they can say, "Oh, it was my job." I'm like, no, you knowingly helped. You're a fucking part of it. You're a co-conspirator. Your ass is going to jail too. And
how evil do you have to be? This dude is 80 plus years old, has cancer, and you're still using him like a puppet to accomplish whatever end state.
Joe tried to do
how evil do you have to be?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he did.
And I hate to say that, but you could see Joe try to fix some of his fuck ups at the end, despite no matter what they said about him, he did it on his own. I mean, he done put a Trump hat on, all kinds of shit.
Hilarious.
That is kind of funny, actually. But I mean, I think that's the biggest thing for me is like, you know, the trust in the institution, the trust in the process, the trust in the government. And I mean, individuals, you have to hold them accountable. And as far as, you know, President Biden, think whatever you want. But I mean, going forward, we can't make this normal. This can't be like, you know, we're hiding this, you know, we're hiding this thing all the time. That's what we're used to. We don't know why and we don't understand. So keep eating my grass, you know, I'm just hiding away with the herd, you know, and that the four of us have seen, again, we've seen, you're supposed to have transparency. Like, and all of us here, if we signed on documents, here's the news, boys, right? We know this. If we sign documents in our active duty military careers, all of a sudden there's an investigation. Guess what? Reach back can occur. You know, you signed off on some big thing. It's like, I remember.
Well, I used to sign Donald Duck and John Wayne, every one of them. I ain't never put my name on that shit. They had a whole stack.
Hey, man, I wish I did, brother. Watch it. They were like, you know, make sure that shit's
I had
clear.
a good guy beside me. He's like, don't put your name on that shit. Fucking I'm like, what's
isn't that wild though? Because even as retirees,
green on his.
They can call us back if something they can unretire you.
I remember signing like all these like supply and, you know, investigations and documents, and I'm just doing the right thing, you know, being as transparent as I can. I'm like, you know, at the end of the day, like I want to do the right thing, and if that means it hurts me, whatever. But because I remember also talking to some of the, you know, the people that are like the logistics gurus, like, you know, the chief warrant officers and the supply officers and the regimental, you know, logistics officer. Like there's a thing called the FIRE. This is the fiscal year review. It goes every 5 years. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Heard of this? And 5 years, and they like dive into every record. Doesn't matter who you are, where you came from. They pull your ass back. You'll be sitting down there in front of the man. And I was like, I do not want that crap, man.
And you know who has to be worried about that? Mark Milley, one of the blanket pardons. Fauci, blanket pardon.
That is true.
All these people that got blanket pardons, you ain't untouchable, homie. You can go fuck yourself. If you played a part in this, burn them to the ground, because that's the only way that you restore trust, is you show that there's accountability that deters future actions, and it regains trust with the American people that you can say, hey, at least for right now, We held these people accountable. Here are the real and substantive charges that we levied against them to prevent people from doing it in the future, and we're going to move forward. It's the only way that can happen.
Hey, we got a celebrity in the crowd. I'm going to just tell you. His name's Just right there. If y'all ever heard me talk about the Brown Hornet, that was my squad leader and platoon sergeant.
Hell yeah. God,
Nice.
that guy's got to be a fucking saint.
Comment.
That guy's got to be a fucking saint, buddy, to be your platoon sergeant.
That dude was a Debo. Like, he used to make me hold my hands up so he could punch me in the gut.
You're not supposed to say that, Bobby.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I just want to tell a funny story about me and him. It's really small. So when I first met him, we get over there, and I mean, he's a big ass dude too. Anyway, we get stuck on motor pool guard because they guard the motor pool because that's the shit that's ready to deploy. All right, man, I'm brand new. Shit, they give me 4 bullets. I'm like, this shit is real, dog. They thinking these motherfuckers coming over the fence. He's up at the front doing it. I'm hitting this motherfucker line to line. You hear that? I'm like, anyway, we become friends, but when it was work time, he didn't treat me no different than anybody else, man. He was the best.
He punched
you got to know how to. You got to know how to toe that line. Now, Aaron, you mentioned we got some super chat. You want to hit those real quick?
Hell yeah, we're gonna hit these rapid fire, so we're gonna get these ones out. Again, folks, man, super chats are never expected, but they're always appreciated. We thank you guys. Gooch Parm, actual Uncle Bobby with the do-rag. I'm locked in, baby. We are all locked in. From Bjorn, Ben, this one specifically for you. What makes a great SOF officer, and how much of a difference does having prior enlisted experience make?
Ooh, Mustang officers, man. Those are, so as I hear it from the enlisted operators, okay, this is also, I would say, my opinion too, after 20 something years of experience, but I think the Mustang officers is usually either your very best and they might have a ton of skills, or they can be the very worst. And you guys tell me, as enlisted operators, the masters here of the operations. So I mean, that's always how I've heard it said. Now, some of the Mustangs were some of my best mentors teaching me things. What makes you a great SOF operator? Listen, put your ego in the box, and realize you don't know everything, but also realize they don't want you to be their friend. They want you to be friendly, but you got to be a commander. You got to be a leader. And that's going to mean making hard calls. They want somebody that you're cool. Okay, we're going to get in tactics now. You're cool and calm on comms in the fight, right? When shit's hitting the fan, you're not spazzing out on the radio. You can't control your fucking air and your stack and all the stuff going on. And you're not calling the QRF because you're spazzing out. Realize your job, okay? Because if you're jumping in the gunfight with them too early, you're doing the wrong thing, because you need to get everybody covered with your air packages, your support. So that's what I'm trying to say to you. That you need to really make sure you're listening at what your job is as a leader, not just from the other officers, but then also from, everybody in the team as well too. Where do you fit in on the team? Keep your ears open. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. And, and honestly, as an officer, let them shine. You gotta let them shine, man. Everybody knows that, you're an officer or whatever like that, but you got to give credit where credit is due too. That's humility, giving credit where credit is due, listening, and really knowing your role. Okay. If you wanted to be the lead guy, kicking the door and blowing the doors, you want to be lead breacher, you want to be a sniper, all stuff like that. There's probably gonna be time for doing that as if things are really kinetic, and God hope they're not. I'm just telling you, you're gonna hope they're not. Okay. So don't, it's the fucking Call of Duty, but know your role. If you want to do all that, go enlist. You'll be, go through all the schools you want. You'll be door kicking operator. And you may do some of that stuff too, but remember, your job is to win as a team. You're like a player coach the whole time. And so, you really got to embrace that. You got to embrace that and take it very seriously and be professional. So guys, I mean, you guys could add a ton for what would make a great SOF officer. That's just my quick 2 cents.
Yeah. I want to kind of keep rolling through these, but you brought up a great point, right? Like the NCO to officer, like, sometimes we say, especially in the Air Force Special Operations, like, this is a great O, but he's too much of a bro and not enough of an O. Like, NCOs need to make that change. Like, that is not your job anymore. And great SOF operators find a way to lead through that. So that's awesome. For me, this one specifically, Bjorn again from Aaron, for Aaron, do you see AFSOC becoming its own standalone unit? Why or why not? Where would you want to see it go and why? No, it absolutely won't. It's a subordinate command to the Air Force. AFSOC handles Air Force specific problems for the larger DoD force. AFSOC is its own command and not its own standalone unit. Well, number one, there's not a need. Nobody's asking for it. That's how the military works. You have a need, a capability gap, and then you have an order to go do. No one's asking AFSOC to do that. AFSOC needs to handle Air Force problems to support the larger DoD. There's no reason for AFSOC to become its own standalone command because comparatively, they're way too young, they're way too small, they have outsized influence in specific air operations and really nothing else. AFSOC follows everybody else's regs for jumping and medicine and diving and all this other stuff. The Air Force is just fine having AFSOC, just like the Marines have MARSOC, just like the Army has their USASOC and all their subordinate commands. Totally fine. No reason for them to go. And I think that's a good answer there. From Bjorn again, did y'all consider FBI, HRT, or BORTAC when you left? Bobby, you have a storied history of doing private military contracting afterwards. Did you ever consider FBI, HRT, or BORTAC?
Fuck all of them. I'm gonna say, hey, look, I'm sorry, guys, and I'm just gonna be serious. I do throw comments there to be funny, but they have not your interest in heart whatsoever. They are paying you that money for that, and that's the chance you take. There's a lot of people right now calling me about going to Gaza right now. You know, that's a foreign ordeal, so it will fuck with your clearance. The money is good, but you have no backup. That's what they don't tell you. There's no military backup coming. You're sitting in a static position. But you got young guys sitting over there that are thinking, oh man, that's $1,200 a day. Yeah, if you get to fucking collect it. So all money ain't good money. I don't have a good rapport with government agencies whatsoever.
No.
You don't say,
Bobby.
Man, I'm just sorry, dude. Like, you know, you never know what their angle is, and you're just a piece of meat to them to get to where they want or get done. In the same boat, you'll find a cache of man pads. You're thinking you're doing a good job. They're going to show up, sign an NDA, and then threaten you with prison. You know? Yeah. And specifically for like FBI, HRT, some of these other higher teams, like the Secret Service has a really cool, it's like the CAT team, like the critical or crisis action team. Yeah, it's like they're super duper high speed SWAT dudes. Listen, guys, the grass is always greener on the other side. People look at these really highly specialized unit. The problem that you run in with is the algorithm to get to those teams. If you want to go see action, people don't consider FBI, HRT. They go to their SWAT team in their local area. Albuquerque SWAT runs something like 700 no-knock warrants and high-risk missions a year. Like, if you want to go get it on, like, there's other organizations that you can do that. I know, like, the sexy stuff of HRT and BORTAC and all this other stuff. Man, listen, it's the same bullshit. You may think you're super cool and super high speed. Guess what? Those guys still do computer-based training. They still have to do their dumb sharp training. They got to do all kinds of, like, you still ain't that cool, homie. You know what I mean? And once you've kind of seen behind the curtain, like we all have, you look at these other units and you're like, yeah, man, it'd be cool if they let you go do your job and let you do it a whole bunch of times. But there's just like there are PJs in the world that have 2 or 3 deployments and no missions. They sat alert their entire career and they never got the call. Right. So of course you're like, oh yeah, these other high speed teams. Yeah, man, you want to see real action and get into a gunfight? Go be a cop in Southside Chicago. I was gonna say go to Cleveland.
Go to Cleveland. Yeah,
like LAPD SWAT. That was always the big, the big
crash unit
guys would talk about. But I'll say one thing is that you got to remember, for a lot of us too, everybody listening, right? If you haven't had the same experiences we have, that we were all in the long war, right? It's the longest war in U.S. history, and so. And I hate to say it, not careful what you wish for, but we all had opportunities to do things that a lot of people didn't, and so that's why Aaron's saying he's spot on. If you go out to some of these SWAT teams, things like that, you're going to have probably a lot of opportunities to really work. But, as far as stuff we did, that I think it's not right now in this context. There are units that are doing things, but not like the same.
Yeah. And the next question is here for Jay, but I do just want to kind of end on this one. Also, guys, there's like, for guys that have actually seen combat, guess where the last fucking place I want to be is? Combat.
Yeah.
The last
thing what you wish for.
Yeah, careful what you wish for, homie. That shit ain't sweet, man. The first time that bullets snap overhead and you're like, holy shit, I could get killed for this.
What's that crack?
Yeah. Bjorn, so this one's specifically for Jay, subject matter expert. So what is the best option for National Guard SOF? Which reserve element has impressed you when working with them?
Well, right now, the only option you really have is SF National Guard. Rangers don't have a National Guard element. Delta Force doesn't have a National Guard element. So all you
PJs
have
do.
is you either go PJ, which if you're not as smart as Aaron, don't even try, right? Or you go SF National Guard. Those
PJs and controllers do. AFSOC does have a couple. You can go to, but it's super small, man. Like I mean, we're so small as a command. The reserve and the guard units. There's 2 guard units in Kentucky and Portland that have controllers, SR, stows, and crows at them, and then there's some other guard units from and guard and reserve units from the PJ side of the house, but that's still super small, man.
Yeah, and what I've seen guys do before is like they'll go National Guard SF, and then they'll leverage the training and the accolades to get into a local SWAT team and see actions like that, right? Because they technically have been through the training on the Army side, and now they can do National Guard and get some action whenever they actually get activated and go somewhere. Or if they don't, they can just go work at their local SWAT department and get some action that way. So I would say, just do some research. But right now, it's going to be the Air Force side or the Army side. And I don't think the Marine Corps has any National Guard or reserve component when it comes to operators, right?
Yeah, I think we have reserve Marine, reserves, but we have reserve Marine Recon, which is really good, actually, really good duty. They used to have one that was in Hawaii. I don't think it's there anymore, but that's pretty sweet, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, they have reserve recon, battalion recon, not force.
Was it like 3rd or something?
I
think Kern was in 3rd. I think he said
fourth
after we got out of 1st.
Yeah, I think it's fourth recon.
Gotcha. Aaron, is there any more, or is that all of them?
No, that's it. Cleared up.
Okay, perfect. All right. So before we hit the the super chats, we were talking about accountability. Well, this next story falls in line with exactly what we were discussing. All right. So Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered a comprehensive review of the U.S. Military's 2021 withdrawal from Afghanistan. The aim is to ensure accountability for the event, particularly in the light of casualties and equipment loss that occurred during that operation. All right. The review seeks to provide a complete picture to the American people and rebuild trust with service members. All right. I don't know for you guys, but I know on my end, the more, like I was talking to Aaron earlier about, the red pill and the blue pill thing. It's like, man, the more I learn about what actually took place with the Iraq war and the Afghanistan war, like the more it messes with you, because as a young man, because again, I was there when the towers fell, right? So of course I'm amped up just like everybody else, want to do my part, and then to later find out like, oh, that might have not been how it truly happened, or it might have been manipulated to get us into war and all the crap that's coming out. Of course, you're going to start losing trust within your government. So I'm glad to see him doing this. I just think they have a long way to go. Bobby, what are your thoughts when you see this as far as ordering the review? Now, keep in mind, like Ben said earlier, this was the long war, 20 years, but this is one event, in my opinion, out of a shit ton of events that took place throughout that 20 years.
I'm just going to talk about the one event.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it because I've never known us to go to a place and not leave a presence. Like South Korea, fucking anywhere we've ever been, we always gonna leave a presence. I don't know who logistically thought Kabul was the great idea. So, I mean, like, me and him would have to talk. Obviously, it was signed off on multiple people. But all in all, as far as, like, what are they really going to do to him? I mean, let's be honest with you. Like, it's over. And I hate to even say that because of people that are dead and gone. And, like, we do need to see some accountability. But all the guys that were involved in that, one of them's got ass cancer. The other one ain't never going to get court-martialed. Lloyd Austin probably owns Raytheon by now. So who's really going to take the fall? The officers that were being told to do this or do that? The sad as I say, it's just one of those things. And I hate to see on leaving the equipment. I'm going to be honest with you. I believe that was an arms deal. and everybody screams, Taliban doing this and this and that. We ain't heard hide or hair or peep or shit out of them since that deal was done. They got their own problems over there. I know a lot of people are still trying to sell it on fear, and I'm sure we will run into them weapons somewhere down the road. But as far as them actually trying to start attacks and shit with us, it ain't happened.
Yeah, but Bob, that's a great insight though too. That arms deal, I hadn't really thought about that much, but then I run it through and I say, well, when you do an arms deal of that magnitude, all those very specialized pieces of equipment, you need to maintain them. Who's maintaining these? And the only people that are U.S. certified people, right? Unless they're learning how to do it themselves, you can screw it all up.
Man, hell no. You know that they ain't made.
Yeah.
You know that the same people that build our shit has got people over there working on that shit.
100%. All these contractors, and that's what I mean. It's a great, infiltration type campaign where, we still have connections. We still have our claws in there through.
I believe it broke down into what happened is the other government got to the point where they didn't want us to listen anymore. And we're like, well, we'll put one in that wheel. Okay. And that's just the honesty truth about it. Y'all don't want to play ball anymore. You think you done got too big for your britches. Go on, send the boys back over here.
I tell you what, man, knowing and learning as what the government is capable of and what's been done in the past, I actually wouldn't put that past them as far as the arm deal aspect of it. Yeah. And that's scary.
What a crazy place to live in, right? You made a great point earlier about red pill, blue pill, but once you see the matrix for what it is, you can't help but look at every single thing and go, okay, hold on. Is this really what it was? And then you hear I'm not saying your theory is wild, Bobby. I actually agree. I agree with it. But it's you hear somebody, say something out of pocket like Bobby Oller, and the normies are sitting over here oh, that's not feasible. And then folks like us are oh, word? Because I can name the last 5 times that it happened. I can tell you about a time when the government had plans to bomb American cities and to shoot Americans in the streets, and JF Kennedy shut it down. That's called Operation Northwoods. Go look it up. To think that we had this government that did these things and that they were bad in the past, but now they're good, and they couldn't have possibly had an ulterior motive for this terrible event that happened. Boy, do I have some uncomfortable information for you, my friend.
Y'all better stay out of the fucking reading rooms then.
But it's good strategy though too, because if you think about the process interests, there's an interest in how the process takes place. Okay, so yeah, you can say we hate you, we say we hate you too, but on the side we're not going to fight. This is the backroom deal, right? We're not going to fight. We'll leave our stuff here, and and then we'll have our contractors, and just in case we ever have to come back, or we have a connection, we have this little side deal where we're not going to have any problems with each other. I don't know if that's true or not, but as Bobby said, you haven't heard anything from them. You haven't seen anything. They have their own problems. It's convenient we leave the stuff behind if, we have some kind of deal, because it is a pain in the ass to take all that stuff back. It's a big pain in the ass to take it all back, to, bring it back in, all that.
If it was cheaper for us to leave it there, we'd have turned that son of a bitch into gravel. They'd have had all the gravel they'd have ever wanted to ever have. But once we leave there, these other big forces, China, which is connected to Afghanistan, all these other places, they will come and take. They will take. Russia was going to take, and everywhere else. They will dominate that land. So we gave them the means to keep going the fight. And ain't nobody taking shit from them right now.
That's wild, man. That's something that.
But that also goes back to where people don't know the history of bin Laden, Mullah Omar, and the 48 hours. You know what I mean? So we were deceived. They were going to hand over bin Laden to us. People don't want to believe that. They just said, hey, we don't want to do it right here. Bush gave him 48 hours. They said, okay. At hour 40, he said, bomb their ass. He was going to make it happen no matter what.
Ben, you had something to add?
I was just smiling, thinking about some of the quotes from President Bush. We talk about President Trump sometimes, but every now and then they'd be like, well, we understand there wasn't due process. He's like, yep, sometimes, the sheriff's got to do what he's got to do. they kick the shit out of him,
Give me Bush back, bro. That guy was such it was so great. Like, yeah, I mean, he may like committed some war crimes and stuff, but you know what? Funny dude on the mic. Absolutely objectively hilarious.
I mean, he got me ready. Shit, he got me over there fighting people.
Hey, man, we're going to go bomb them all. All right, now watch this drive.
Yeah, that's right. I can remember the mission accomplished, and then we're sitting in the conference room, and as the RCT-1 commander comes in, it's Colonel Tulin. He's like, "Boys, we're going back to Iraq." He like kind of leave the middle of the meeting for like some secret message. We're all sitting there. I guess we're going back. And we're like, "What? Dude, you said mission accomplished just the other day."
Yeah, I saw it. It was on a big banner. We said it. We declared it. What happened?
Right. But as far as like accountability and all that stuff goes, like like we were talking about with, what are they going to do? I think the investigative process is still good to, get real answers because, again, I go back to it. This is why President Trump was elected for all these different things, right? This is one more, one little gram on the scale that's getting him elected. So this is the will of the people too, and he's going to do an investigation. Say, hey, this is what happened. This is the timeline. These are the people. And what I would say is this is, as a general officer, not that I'm a general officer, but as I understand it, okay, you start learning about these things as you're gaining the ranks. Like, what do they expect in a general officer? One of the first things they tell them is that you have to have absolute candor with no fear of your job. And why? It's also because someday they might come back and review what the hell you were a part of. And if you didn't have absolute candor and you didn't tell them your best military advice as you're testifying or behind closed doors, if you didn't say your best military advice and say, do this, don't do this, and it was on a document somewhere, you might be up for the chopping block as we're seeing in this investigation with, Secretary of Defense Hegseth is going to do with Afghanistan. And so then, if someone had documents come and say, look, I told him, this is what I say, don't do that. Okay, you're going to be good. Or if a number of people say, yeah, he was fighting against it, but at the end of the day, you got, you either resign, right? You resign, or you keep going and you follow the orders that you're given. Okay, if it's a lawful order, then you follow it. But again, they have to make that decision. So I think that's again the biggest thing is like with these senior leaders, candor is so important, and it's not comfortable. I was talking about this the other day, made like a video and putting some posts out about having hard conversations. As a leader, it changes everything. If you're able to have the hard conversations, you don't have to be a jerk about it. You just have to say what you really think. And, have the courage to do that because guess what? There are consequences if you don't. If you go along to get along, you might have consequences. So you will have consequences, 100%.
I love what you said about having that hard conversation, Ben, and having the courage because too many times you'll see guys, squad leaders, team leaders, LTs, whatever, gripe, get in that meeting and fucking quiet as a church 100%. Mouse. And I'm the only guy over there like, hey, I'm going to fucking say it if y'all ain't going to say it.
And you probably saw the battalion commander, regimental commander, whoever, looking at you like, well, what do you think? If they're all done talking, he's looking at you if you got anything. He knows you're the one with candor. I've seen that a million times where the senior commander pushes past everyone in the room. He's looking for that one guy.
He literally wants to know what the fuck is going on. He can't. He can't have eyes everywhere.
That's it.
I think I saw somewhere. I think it was Elon Musk's book that I read. He said the worst thing you can have in a workplace is, I think it was like harmony or something, right? Like where everybody gets along. He was like, that's the worst thing you can have at a workplace, because if the four of us are working in an office and we all like and get along with each other, then guess what? If something has to be said, no one's going to fucking say it because no one wants to piss off the other guy, right? So as he's building his different companies, he looks for those different personalities that are very rash and that are very like Bobby-like to say, hey man, this is fucked up. Like you need to fix it, because he's like, that's what I need, because as things are getting messed up, somebody has to say something, right? And it's not an easy thing to do, but I tell you what, as a leader, like the more you do it, the more your guys will respect you, right? And it's like, and if you don't do it, and the guys are gonna see it, they're gonna see you as a coward and somebody that's never gonna go to bat for them when they need you to.
100%.
Right. Yeah.
There's one thing I want to end on, and it's the only reason that I give a shit about this accountability, because Sergeant Pichardo, Sergeant G, because of Sergeant Darren T. Hoover, because Corporal Hunter Lopez, because Corporal Page, because of Corporal Sanchez, Lance Corporal Espinoza, Lance Corporal Schmidt, Lance Corporal McCullum, Lance Corporal Marola, Lance Corporal Kareem Nakui, Navy Corpsman Max Soviak. Those people's parents deserve answers. They deserve some sort, even if it's for show, even if it's for this is what happened. Staff Sergeant Ryan Noss, all their parents deserve answers for why those 13 American servicemen died during this withdrawal. The blood is on their hands.
When I saw my unit, the 04 there, helping them at that, and I was like, I mean, I literally started tearing up. I was like, 20 years for fucking what? Like,
and we all had, I mean, we had the two guys that ran that mass casualty in the entire evacuation. They were credited with over 10,000 saves. Like, they got 10,000 people out. My friend Sean that just retired, he actually went off base with his PJ team, and they got into Mexican standoffs with a bunch of Taliban, saving a woman and bringing her back and putting her on the plane. She would have been raped and beheaded on fucking video in downtown as they were leaving. Like, I have friends that like Max Sloviak was a friend. Max was a corpsman. He was helping them treat in the initial stuff. Like, they knew. Yeah, go ahead.
Character-wise, about your friend, who led that team off base, would you say this is a guy that was pretty open with his candor, would tell you like it is? Notorious
for it. Okay, you put Sean in her. Sean is a good friend of mine, and I love the fact that he retired. He's going to crush it in his next life. Sean would be the one. Like, he was my good friend Mike described him as, remember that gremlin from the movie Gremlins, like the stripe guy? Sean is like this 5'4", just little stocky dude, and he does not give a shit. He will burn you to the ground.
Like that? You know else is like that notoriously from people I know that know this guy firsthand, but Dakota Myers, they say, fights you in a drop of a hat. If he's thought, and it could be verbal sparring, whatever, but never back down, say what he has to say. Likeable, very likable from a guy that worked with him, was there when he got his Medal of Honor. But what my point is this, okay, that a lot of people will ask, how do I know I'll be brave? How can I have courage? Your first thing is moral courage. Speaking up is friggin' hard, man. It'll make you uncomfortable. You'll feel embarrassed. But you want to know that you're going to have physical courage in these hard, tough times. First, have moral courage. That you keep stepping up. It's that practice. It's like a muscle. You keep having the moral courage to have candor, to step up, to say things the right way. Now, you can have tact when you say it too, but you still got to say something, right? Then you're working that muscle. You're more likely to step up in the times when you need physical courage for danger. That's just my 2 cents. That's the way I've always seen it.
What I always felt like, if you were good at your damn job, damn good at your job, and you knew if you were a subject, you better be fucking smart if you're going to speak up in that room. That's all I tell everybody. I was like, you can't be a dirtbag and make all comments like whatever bullshit. But I'm like, if you're going to be in there, you better be damn good at your job, and you better be damn sure you know what you're talking about, so answer questions when he comes back at you. If not, you're just a fool.
Yeah, that's a good point, Bobby. And then you also got to have a solution, right? Don't be that guy that's always bitching, right? Make sure you know what you're talking about, and make sure you have a solution if that person that's in charge just happen to ask for one. You know what I mean? But to Ben's skill, it is a skill. Like, you have to have tact, because if you don't, then one, your message might not be received, right? Like, if you don't know how to deliver it the right way and also make the person feel comfortable to telling them that, hey, he's an asshole or he's a dirtbag and he needs to fix X, Y, and Z, then he's just going to see you as the enemy, right? So there's a proper way to speak up and deliver bad news and be that leader. And there's also a wrong way to do it too. Yeah. And I've seen it done wrong way a lot of time. But your good leaders, they're the ones that practice it, like Ben was saying, practice it. And then when it's time to deliver, you'll bring the person in, like, you'll make sure they understand that this is coming from a place of love. And then you'll essentially, it's like mentorship, right? You're helping them get over the hump.
And I'm going to give this one to Ben. Ben, I want you to fold this into your talks from now on. People misappropriate the word trust to the sort of relationship that you need to have for this. It's not trust, it's intimacy. Intimacy is knowing the deepest, darkest parts of that other person, coming from a place of love and giving them that input, that bad news, that tough talk. You're giving it to them because you are literally intimate with those people. And I know we shy away from intimacy because it like leads to all the gay jokes. But unless you have an intimate relationship with your team, with your command partner, with your larger organization, you're not going to feel that you have the trust to say those things. And that's the barrier that you have there. You have to have a lot of it.
That other girl had a lot of intimacy.
I don't know, Aaron. I don't know if you saw Aaron. It was a great comment. Aaron, that was a great comment. It was, fantastic. And over in the corner, I look up and I see Bobby's doing this. He's going like this. And so, like, half my face for 1 second was like smiling and frowning. It's like that friend the friend that makes you laugh when you're not supposed to laugh.
Oh man! Now, do you guys think that it's a what we just talked about is a skill that could be learned? Because the military creates environments where it's really easy to do that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Now, do you think that's a skill that a young individuals could learn as early as high school maybe? Like, 100%. How do you teach that in a person?
100%. The one thing I want to say with that too is, it's just like we were saying, practice candor, practice speaking up for yourself, practice speaking for what you know is right. Now, at the same time, if you're a young guy or girl out there listening, what I've seen too is, like, especially on football teams, I was a football coach, all that stuff, but they think leadership is yelling at people. Get the fuck over here. They think, young soldiers and Marines too think that, right? Like, you're a leader now. Get the fuck up, fucking do it. I tell you, going crazy. It's like, that's not always it, right? It's speaking up, speaking truth to power, telling people when something's fucked up. If you have a couple of people doing things that are wrong, you got to say something. You got to do something, right? It means, stopping people from getting bullied, all that different stuff. That takes real courage, because then you might have to put up or shut up too. So I think it can be, leadership is a skill that can be learned. Some people naturally have some advantages in leadership, right? They may have physical strength. They may have very quick wit, but unless you have, that moral courage and you don't study leadership and how to do it, you don't practice it, you'll never get good at it. So yeah, I do think you can.
There's another issue with the leadership, and it's the way I dislike it in the Army, is you just got to hang around long enough and they're going to move your ass up. And I don't like that person, because I am big about go the right way, use your chain of command. Okay. But if I got this guy's chicken shit, okay, he doesn't want to make any waves over there. It's never going to go anywhere. If I go around him, command's going to want to know why I'm doing why am I talking to you? Okay. So what I always tell guys is, be better than, man, I'm telling you, you had to do something to be better than me. Because I always told my guys, I said, if you can beat me, you can tell me what to do. But what he didn't see is I was going to be out there working out at 3 o'clock in the morning again, because you wasn't finna beat me. All right. But if you come to me with something I don't see, then it's a problem. But come with me with a solution, man, I'll 100% listen to you, because everybody can learn something from everybody. Like, and that's just the way it is. A lot of people can't handle that on a leadership role, because they're like, I'm the boss. I'm the da-da-da.
Yeah, right.
It says it in the book here. And I'm like, man, fuck your book for a minute. Let me show you, because you ain't been sitting over here. Things change. You know what I mean? We all have to learn. We're all old heads. And I believe that we can learn a lot from the generation that's going through now. But I believe they can learn a hell of a lot from us as well, from the lessons we learned that got lost through the years, that didn't get passed.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Aaron, do we have any super chat? And if not, you can take this and run with it, and then finish off the I think we have 2 more remaining stories.
We do, yeah. So just a quick one from Lawrence S. What determines if RRC versus you don't say those numbers together anymore, you say AFSOC GSU, SR team gets a mission? Is it air power versus enemy logistics or weather, and EW versus troops barracks? So this is way too far in the weeds, my guy. So don't think about what unit, think about what capability. Keep in mind, too, SR doesn't operate special reconnaissance in the Air Force, even at the Tier 1 units, which is called the AFSOC GSU. Don't associate those numbers with that. That's not how you do things. They don't have their own teams, right? We work on combined teams of pararescuemen, combat controllers, TAC-P, special reconnaissance, and special warfare officers in concert to get after Air Force mission sets, even when they work directly for JSOC or directly for SOCOM, like that unit does. So you have to look at, what do you want from the output of the mission? It's not like, hey, which team is going to go on this? If it's taking apart integrated air defense systems in order to flow air forces in there to get an airhead, to get eventually a head of troops to actually hold that terrain, then that would probably go to the Air Force dudes because they know what's up. If it's a different mission set that falls inside of the lane of another team that has that capability, and you can use whatever team you want in here, not just the Rangers, if it's better suited to their capability and that provides the tactical output that the combatant commander is looking for, that's what team gets that mission. They're not interchangeable. They have distinct capabilities, just like Army Green Berets and PJs have distinct and different mission sets that they get after, right? That doesn't mean the Green Berets can't do personnel recovery, and it doesn't mean that a pararescue team or an Air Force Special Operations team comprised of those 4 specific specialties can't do stuff like foreign internal defense and whatever. That's just not our primary mission set. Don't think about the color of the beret or the command that the person works for. Think about the capability that you're trying to get and the outputs, the actual end state, right? Ways, means, and end state that you're trying to get after. That one was a little bit in the weeds. Hopefully I gave you an answer there, and we are going to go on to the next one. We're going to lighten it up a little bit because I got some questions. I've got some questions. So there's an Army unit. They decided that extreme use of profanity was so bad, they made a rule about it. An Army company at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, also known as Fort Lost in the Woods, has issued a policy prohibiting vulgar language and rude gestures after an investigation found that profanity was rife within the unit, said Tiffany Wood, a spokeswoman for the base. The investigation was initiated due to concerns about the unit's climate and culture after complaints regarding extreme use of profanity were received, Wood told Task and Purpose on Wednesday. Now, I actually did a little bit of internet research here. So before we hop into, if you guys feel like we should be able to curse at people, I actually found a lot of the complaints that they were talking about here. So we're going to show some weapons training that these guys were going through here. And you guys tell me if this was bad.
But once inside, unconventional training methods that the weapons committee instructors use to train these unconventional soldiers.
Come here, fuckhead! Hey, fuckhead!
When I asked
Fuckhead
him
has done things in the
about this
past.
motivational training technique, he told me to eat a dick. Eat a dick is apparently a form of Oriental martial arts training adopted by the Green Berets. Eat a dick training combines advanced combat marksmanship with encouragement from the weapons committee instructors.
That's a walking violation. Look at him! Which gun do I fuck with next? Oh my God! How far are yours? Face down, right? Hey, just flag his whirl! Whirl!
And for the truly gifted students, special one-on-one time with their favorite weapons committee
He's just
instructor.
making him stronger.
Fuck you, bugger!
Fuck you, Bogger. You suck.
Although this may seem like a new training style, the 18 Bravo instructors are not the first Green Beret soldiers to eat a dick. Colonel David Schroer may have been the first Green Beret to eat a dick as far back as Somalia and Haiti.
Times have changed.
The times have changed. So, Ben, we'll start with you, man, because I want to ask like an actual question on this one, right? So obviously some complaints came up. People were ticked off about, maybe some abusive language that was using, too much. Does this actually affect the culture of a unit, or do you think this is a bridge too far?
Oh man. I mean, I think it can get out of control, right? I think, there's a level of professionalism you have to have, and you know what right is. You know when you're joking around, and when you are trying to be motivating and to break up, cause some humor. It's very funny. But then there's degrading talk, there's demeaning talk, and it trickles down. Trickles throughout the unit. And I do think it does impact the culture. I actually do. So I think at some point, again, if you're trying to be funny, if it's motivational. I mean, I can tell you, like I said, the legendary, Marine Company Gunny, who would always have some great things to say, but usually we'll stop there. I mean, obviously in the squads, the guys are doing whatever the hell they want to do. But something so public in front of a CNN reporter, I just think these had to be some of the dumbest people ever. Is this a joke or is it serious? Is that a joke? That's for real. Because I mean, that's you gotta be kidding me. If that's not a joke, you gotta be kidding me. You just shamed your friggin' team. You shamed your unit. You look like idiots. They would have been sent home on the first plane possible. Yeah, really? Okay. That's the brand? Fuck yourself. Get on the plane. Come home. You're leave. Fuck yourself. Next team's in the chute right now. They can't wait to take your fucking job. Team chief, team commander, everybody's fucking gone. Instantly. Instantly, I'm firing you through the fucking phone as I choke your ass through the fucking red phone right now. You're done. Go fuck yourself. You want to embarrass me, embarrass the team, embarrass our unit, embarrass the beret, embarrass the badge, fuck off. 100% would have been death instantly. So I think you know it degrades everybody eventually. It is funny as hell. It's funny as hell when everyone's in on it. If everyone's in on it, it's funny. But I do remember when I was a lieutenant, I was like doing I was like following this captain in his company through CAX, the Combined Arms Exercise in 29 Palms. You know, it was a big deal. It was right before the war. But it was high pressure because people would be fired from it if they didn't do it right. This guy, I've never seen someone so artfully swear at someone. I mean, he's swearing so much. Screaming in the radio, going nuts, and he was like this ultra marathon runner. He was just insane. Now, I don't even want to say his name because it might be some Marines that remember this guy, you know. And he was legendary for, you know, swearing at you and, you know, in ways that were never even invented before. So anyway, but you know, he would use it as humor a lot of times too, and the guys would be laughing when he's saying stuff, and then he would quit. So, Bobby,
do you think that words hurt people's feelings so bad that we need to have a policy on what words you can say?
I had to put my shit on because I'm being a gangster with this one.
Somebody asked if you had the N-word pass to wear that, and man, I guess Jay.
I'm just trying to get some waves, player.
I just realized
you want to shoot these motherfucking dice? Come up with 20, baby. I put a hard on you right now for 100.
I fucking love this show. Right. Oh my god!
So on this one is I had a problem with this. Okay, when you're at certain units, obviously in public, you're going to hold yourself to the standard that you are to know. Okay. And there's a big damn difference in cussing and then cussing at someone.
Yeah.
Okay. So where I ran into the problem was, I mean, every song we sang was about killing. I'm sorry. That's good propaganda. If you're going to be out there in war, you sing kill and kill and kill. Eventually you believe it. So when I got sent to another unit and they asked me to sing cadence. We made it around the block, and I mean, next thing I know, they done called the chaplain and everybody else on me, and I'm like, "What?"
They need an old priest and a young priest for Bobby. They're like, "What? Fuck?"
You know. So when you're in a tactical situation, or if you're at the hospital, even though they're soldiers, anything like that, man, talk to them women with respect. Don't cuss at all them people. Keep that shit in the field with the guys. Okay. It's time and place, and especially in public. Be a professional. You know, that's how they view us. Be that. Oh, it's time and place for everything. As far as military wide, fuck that.
Jay, you look like a guy that's eat a dick before. Do you think that there's a time and a place for this sort of stuff, or what?
Those guys got in so much trouble for that video.
They got in so much trouble.
They got in so much trouble for that video. But yeah, like I agree with Bobby 100%, man. Like there's military culture, and then there's, you know, like military culture to the civilian world. The civilian world, when they see a soldier, a Marine, or airman, like they know to expect a certain thing. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Opening the door. Like that's who you are in the. But then you go to the field with the guys, and you guys are joking around, and the profanity just comes out, right? You get your leader really heated, like he's gonna cuss at you. Like. It's just part of the culture, right? Like I'm pretty meek and mild, but a private get under my skin at the right time, like he's gonna get it. That's just part of the culture. So to say that you can't cuss, I don't think it's gonna hold up. And the place that the article is referring, it's reception. I don't know if the Air Force and the Marine Corps had something similar, but when you go to basic training, you'll spend 7 days at what we call reception, where you get the haircuts, you get the new uniform, before your drill sergeants actually come pick you up to take you out to where you're going to train for the next, 8 to 12 weeks or so. So it's not even.
Drill sergeants are the funniest people in the world. Like they are absolutely a fucking riot,
bro. Yeah. I told this story today, but it's one of those things that becomes like such an ingrained joke that you can't stop it from coming out of your mouth. So let me tell you about the time that a bartender broke a glass and I told her to commit suicide. I'm going to go all the way back to 2001. I was in Air Force basic training. We do it at a hotel. I don't know why you guys are talking about reception. Do you mean like the concierge? Because that's what we had. Anyway, but it was a funny fucking joke. They would have the instructors, they would sit there and their little thing, they would call it the snake pit, and sometimes they would single somebody out and haze them in front of everybody. It was hilarious. They had the funniest freaking jokes because they worked on their comedy. Somebody dropped the glass one time and the instructor just right away goes, pick it up with your wrists. And that shit was so fucking funny to me. Fast forward like 15 years later, I'm in a random bar with a bunch of dudes. And I mean, this has been a running joke or whatever. Some bartender drops this glass, it breaks. And before I even could stop myself, I was pick it up with your wrists. Oh God. And let me tell you, to people that did not know that joke, not fucking funny. They didn't get it at all.
You don't want to talk about how you get babies off a bale of hay. You know what I'm saying? You know, or how to paint walls. You know, people are like,
that's such an inside baseball joke. But like, yeah, it's just funny. Like these things are funny, man. Like, and I get it, reception. Like, yeah, your first foray into the military, okay, maybe because they are instructors, maybe you don't go hard at them and call them a fuckhead. I got it. But if they're being a fuckhead, I mean, maybe call them that.
Yeah,
but I think there are a lot of videos of Paris Island, and as soon as they step off that bus, what it's like. I think there are probably a lot of heartbroken DIs right now who are like, what do you mean? We can't do what we always do.
But I tell you what, like that's the entire intent behind that first week of like reception. It's to shock the shit out of your system to let you know you're not in Kansas anymore, and that takes a lot of different forms. And in the Army and Marine Corps, I don't know about the Air Force, but it's typically like very in your face, cussing, yelling to let you know, like, holy shit, like it's about to get real. So now you take that away. Could you imagine a drill sergeant, like a Marine Corps drill sergeant?
And them canteens smell like piss. Don't drink out of the canteen at 30th AG. That thing wasn't nothing but fucking prison.
Oh, Lord. But there's a strategy behind why we do things the way that we do. And it's been working for since the inception of the military. And now we're just starting to chop away at it. And it's like, man, I get it. We're getting a different, like, the folks we're getting are different and they're built a different way. But man, like if we want to keep winning and we want to keep producing solid product, we can't change the chain that's been working, so I don't know, man.
We'll see. No one's getting hurt, right?
Right.
There you go.
Speaking of some shit that's changed, can we talk about the sexualization and posting videos in uniform and why? So let's just play the video and we'll go from there.
Good for you.
And you go to the gym, you fat shit. So this is how you make it look like you have abs in every photo. You put your foot like that, you rotate it, and you go to the gym, you fat.
Is that a fucking dude? Or wait, hey, don't ruin it for me. Is that a guy?
Bobby, no. Okay, so now I have questions.
A voiceover.
Yeah, it's a voiceover, dude.
Okay, man, because you don't ever know this day. Shit, you know what I mean? Because I was like,
all right. So Ben, you've got a junior enlisted troop that decides to make that. She has to be enlisted. There's no way an officer did that. Fucking why, man? What conversation do you have with this person? Like, I get it. You're doing it for the likes and the clicks and the lulls, but do we need to sexualize absolutely everything to include military service? Like, what are we doing?
Hey, I'm just glad it fit good because back in the day, all they had was them pregnant. You remember that? They look bad in them uniforms, man. I mean, like at least the guys. I mean, when we was wearing the BD hoods, we had the sleeves rolled up, stars looking tight, walking around. Girls like garbage. Sorry. I mean, if she worked for it and she doing her job, whatever.
Jay, what do you think?
So I actually read the regulation AR-678-1, which covers the wear and appearance of the U.S. Army's military uniform, and it clearly call it what you want, right? As a former first sergeant, I had to be well read and all the different regulations, right? But it clearly states in the regulation that you will not use and abuse the military uniform for personal gain, right? And like I said, but I didn't have an issue with how she was wearing the uniform, whatever. Like it's still presentable. But once you go on TikTok and Instagram and you start modeling the uniform for personal gains, that's when the lines get blurred. because at the end of the day, a commander like Ben, you know, could go up to her and be like, hey, like, you are not representing my unit the way that it should be represented with what you're doing on Instagram, right? This shit belongs on OnlyFans. Like, why are you, like, you can show whatever part of your body you want, but you can't do it in uniform because we have a certain image we have to uphold. And that's always been my biggest issue with this, is when you take the uniform and what the military uniform represents and you start doing dumb shit in it, right? Now picture Bobby in uniform with a do-rag on. Will that shit fly? Probably no. He would get crushed.
No, it would be fly though.
You couldn't even wear sunglasses when I was in it. Like you didn't have sunglasses. Jungles were SOP.
Yeah.
Shit was starched. You had that one good uniform. Don't get caught in a pair of fucking winters.
I'm telling you, man. Like, there used to be like Pry and Standard, but now, like, every time I go to TikTok to find shit for my videos, it's like I'm losing brain cells.
I watched a kid the other day pawned his fucking helmet for vapes and got fucking caught up. And I'm already looking at him. His boot got grease and dirt and shit all over it. And I'm just like, you're like, oh, go get your leader, you know, And I'm like, man, you know, always believe in punishment shall fit the crimes. You know, if you're going to do something, he would have wore that motherfucker till he ETS'd. Like, and they look terrible. When they got away from the shine in the boots, people don't understand. It's like, they're talking about, oh, man, that's stupid. I said, no, it wasn't. It was about discipline. It was about having that uniform and looking sharp every day. Okay?
Yeah.
That was all it was about. It was about doing what the fuck you were told. And if you had to do it in extra hours, then sit your ass in there and do it. That's part of the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a fan of it at all, Aaron, to wrap up my point. It should be
sorry about that, Jay. I don't believe that there should be any social media in the military at all.
Hot take. I'm okay with it. Ben, I got a question for you about leadership. So the problem that I have with this is the image that it presents, not just to the people that are looking at it and looking at some hot chick in a uniform with big old chest cannons. I got it. Everybody likes boobs, whatever. My question is this. So now you have an NCO or even an officer that tries to bring somebody in to counsel them. And they're like, hey, listen, this is a very serious thing. And he goes, is this you? Are these your boobs on fucking Instagram? How does leadership and how does credibility kind of fit into that sort of image that they're portraying?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, like you guys said, it's good order and discipline. You know, obviously she's fit, so you can't hit her on that. And I don't know what else her content looks like. You know, I mean, something
exactly like that, man.
Just
I've looked at all of them.
I looked at all of them. For this show, for research purposes only.
For research purposes only.
Go to horny jail.
But I mean, you know, that's pretty tame. You know what I mean? And like, so they could say, like, you know, we have some Marines who are like crazy shape. You seen the one dude does like the pull-ups like this, and he's like he's running with a log on the treadmill. You ever seen that Marine?
Oh yeah,
he's like superhuman, you know. And by the way, all the Marines are like that, not just him.
Every
single one.
Common Marine L. Get out of here.
Exactly. That's a big propaganda machine. But I mean, he's in the uniform doing this stuff, and so I don't know if they could come back and say, well, what about, you know, him? He's viral. He's got millions and millions of followers, more than you know, many people. So I don't know. They got to find, you know, a sweet spot where, because if you totally deny it, they're going to find another way around it. Mm-hmm. But I think, Aaron, you said before, or maybe it was Nate, about the recruiting, that, you know, if you show you got people that are in shape and they're, you know, able to still, you know, be on social media, if you can use it without it crossing certain lines, then, you know, it's a leadership challenge. It's hard, but I think you still have to pay attention to good order and discipline. You got to pay attention, like we said. Are you making the unit look stupid? The uniform looks stupid. The people look stupid. And that's going to be the burden right there.
Anytime you give any leeway, people are going to find a way to abuse it at some point. It's just like the ear and the sideburn. They're going to argue what's the opening of the sideburn. Yeah. You're always going to have that person. So just fucking get rid of it and be done with it.
Dude, could you imagine being a fucking private in that unit and knowing who that chick is? You're going to think she's open for business. Now you got to worry about sexual assault. You know what I mean? Because now she's, hey, if you're showing me your boobs on Instagram and I'm a private, I'm be like, hey, what's up, Sergeant? Like, you trying to fuck? Like, that's just what young dumb guys do, right?
And
and when
man, I got these Xanaxes. You want?
Why did he go to Xanaxes?
You look stressed.
Why did he go to drugs? I don't know. That's called the slippery slope fallacy, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm glad we're talking about boobs because it gives us a great segue
man.
to go from great boobs to absolutely terrible boobs. What in the National Guard, Jay? Get your boy.
That dude ain't in the guard. That's a garbage man, dude. He got that shit at the guy.
Today is the last day.
Yikes.
That's the National Guard.
Wow.
That's the National. But again, the National Guard has different standards than us active duty folks do. Right?
That ain't no standard.
That's what I'm saying, right? It's like the Air Force. There is no standards. It's the same thing.
Hey,
Aaron, how fast is your bike ride?
Hey. Easy, buddy. Easy, buddy. Let's take it easy. I never rode the bike. I did the walk. So let's just take it easy. Okay? I did the elliptical because it's faster and you were able to score higher, Bobby. And I always got the best score. So the thing I love about the Air Force is it's so close to the actual military that you get away with shit like that. So I don't know why we're being so mean about it. We're not the Coast Guard. Fucking
hey, we're jealous. All right, we're jealous.
Oh yeah, but there's one time I got frostbite. I'm like, man, I sure wish I was in the Air Force right now. Like,
yeah. Why are you guys hating from outside the club? You can't even get in. Fucking ASVAB waiver. Don't talk to me about that shit.
I was gonna be a pilot. Y'all left me. They left my motherfucking ass down there. Like I had all of it. I was ready to go.
Could you imagine having Bobby as a pilot? Oh no!
Oh my god. So we're approaching Memorial Day weekend. Everybody knows 1971, we formalized Memorial Day for what it is. It's a time to get together and remember those that we lost in service. Here's a little tip. We don't gatekeep here on the show. We're not going to shame you for doing stuff. There's a lot of these vet mill bros out on the world that'll like insist that you just look at pictures of dead bodies for 3 straight days and like shame you for having a good time. Here's how we'd like to end the show, man. We're going to talk about somebody that we've lost because you die 2 times in the world. You die the first time that your soul actually leaves your body and you're no longer living. And the second time you die is when people stop saying your name. And we have a platform, so I'll be damned if I don't say the name of one of my friends that I miss on this weekend. And I'm going to give you a piece of advice before I turn it over to the folks so they can talk about some of the friends that they lost. And I didn't tell them I was doing this, so they need time to think about who they're going to talk about and what they're going to say. So I'm going to tell you about my friend Ben White. Ben was killed June 9th, 2010 in the Helmand province on the Pedro 66 crash. At the time, it was the biggest loss of life for the Air Force Special Operations community. He lost his life with 4 other members of a helicopter crew, a special warfare officer, now as they're called, but a combat rescue officer, Joel Gentz. He was the first person to die in the officer career field. And Mike Flores. Those are the 3 people on that aircraft. I went through my entire pipeline with Ben. Ben played poker at my house about every single weekend for a 2-year period down in Kirtland. He was flying on that aircraft, and unfortunately, they were shot down after saving a Marine's life in Helmand. I actually trained and did my entire upgrade with every single person on that aircraft. I knew every single person that went down in that crash. The funniest story about Ben that I could possibly tell you is he's this kid from Tennessee. We were in psychological training, and the psychological training was to teach us how to talk ourselves using positive self-talk into getting through selection. So we're in the heat of it. We're in NDOC, and we're in this psychological training. And the doctor is telling us, you just need to say that you can make it and that you're good enough and that you're willing to be a pararescueman. And Ben, in his perfect Southern accent, goes, "Hey, doc, is it okay to fucking lie to yourself like that?" And it was the funniest thing. Ben loved Dr. Pepper. That was his favorite thing. When you were deployed, the Dr. Pepper was Ben's Dr. Pepper, and he refused to let anybody else drink it. He would actually bring his own on deployments. And Ben was one of the nicest dudes. He was so nice. In fact, we had a guy that was on his refire for his 5-mile run at NDOC. We all knew that he wasn't going to make it. He missed his 4-mile run. He missed the initial test for his 5-mile run by quite a bit. And we're there at 4:00 in the morning, and the kid's name was Zidell. And Ben walked down at 4:00 in the morning in Texas. It was already humid out, and Zidell was fighting for his life. Zidell did not make it either, spoiler alert. And Ben, who was a fast as shit runner, he had nothing to worry about that eval day. He bent down to his legs for whatever reason. He goes, "Oh, what's that, Zidell's legs? You wish he was Ben's white legs? I bet you do." And I'll tell you what, like, even though the fact remains that kid didn't make it through, Ben was such a good guy that people loved him for it, man. I miss Ben. I miss Flo. I miss Joel and the entire crew that died in the Pedro 66 mishap. And here's the piece of advice I'll give you. Man, I know their family. I know Gold Star families. Some of them are super close to my heart. And those Gold Star families would tell you, don't sit around and be a sad sack and mourn them. Have your barbecue, drink your beer, have fun with your friends, because that's what they'd want to do. I know Ben White. Ben White would tell me, Aaron, don't you sit around and cry over me. You better go out. You better have fun. You better hug your family tight. And I'll see you when you get back here. So that's my advice to you. Ben, I'm going to turn it over for you.
Hey, sorry for that interruption right there. That I was going to tell you, that's one of my best friends. He come down from Maine. We went through basic together. We deployed together. We have the same fucking birthday. I just knew he just shows up at my house driving a damn Nissan GTR. He just flew down to Dallas and bought. Great guy. Fucking love him to death. I just wanted to add that. Y'all didn't think I was a maniac running him around in my house.
Got it. Ben, who you got, buddy?
You know, unfortunately, there are too many to name. And just for any of you that are out there that I've served with your families, Gold Star families, my heart goes out to you. I'll never forget, always beside you. And I do want to bring up Sergeant Moses Rocha, who was killed in 2004 in the Battle of Najaf in a direct firefight. He was the first person I lost in combat. And I wish I could have changed the outcome of that. But, you know, you have to know the things you can control and things you don't. And at risk of me getting choked up and kind of losing it on here, I'm just going to mention him. Blessings to you and your family, brother. And, you know, I'll see you in Valhalla someday. And also want to mention also Major Doug Zimbeck, a good friend of mine, mentor, even though he's only a year older than me. One of my close friends, had a big impact on me, known as the Lion of Fallujah, just an absolute warrior, badass, was later killed in a direct firefight with, with GB. I don't know how else to say it on this podcast, but, and so too many to name. So God bless all of you, all Gold Star families. And yeah, definitely all of them would want you to enjoy your weekend. Just, you know, say a prayer for them. Remember them. Remember the families, their sacrifice, you know, and remember, just remember service members who've given the ultimate, paid the ultimate price for all of us. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Bobby.
Well, that's kind of like him. They got the piling up over the years. Yeah, I seen the GWAT stone at Fort Bragg the other day, and it was just like, God, I'm like all the names I knew on there. But March 14th, 2004, Horezheb, south of Baghdad, lost Clint Farron, Daniel Landano, Joel Bertain, and Jason L. lived, but he don't remember any of it, which I think is great. They lost half a platoon because our platoons were only 12 men. Farron was my first platoon sergeant. He was awesome. He was missing his front tooth up here. They always called him the Toothless Wonder. It's been over 20 years ago. I got to watch his kids grow up. You know, Bertain was 19 years old, and got married the day before we left. He'd only been in the unit for a couple weeks, never come home. But there's another part of that story that changed a lot about me, because as soon as all that happened, I got told that that's where I was headed to go put my shit on and get my guys together. And I had a brand new guy and a guy with some experience in the gun, but I remember standing there waiting to go. And it was the only time I ever remember being scared. And if anybody said, but I had to keep that game face on for those young boys up there, because I could see it written all over them. And if they saw me unwaver in that moment right there, they would lose their nerve too. But I tell you what, when we got done and come back finally after retrieving them and retribution, and I took my vest off, that was the longest night of my whole life. Like, I just remember dropping it down, but I celebrate every one of them, and we smile and we laugh and we joke, and nobody's fucking sad. There's been a lot of guys die from cancer already. And man, we just talk about the fucking fun times and the laughs and the funnies, man. Don't nobody sit around and talk about that sad shit.
Hell yeah, brother. Jay, close us up.
All right. So if you guys watching this, if you don't know, and I'm sure you've seen military people wear these, right? If you don't know what they are, that's a little bracelet that we wear that has, you know, the date, that the individual was born in and the date they died, and also location that they passed away at, right? Like you'll see a lot of guys wear these little bracelets. So that's what that means. And for me, like I said, I think everybody on the panel is, lost multiple people. But for me, it's, we call him Wobbles, right? His name is Josh Beals. We call him Wobbles because when he first got to group, he was this freaking pole, tiny kid, right? And he was trying to go to he went to a dive team, and the dive team, they put him through this intense workout, not knowing that he swam in college and he was also like an armor. They just judged him on the fact that he was tiny. They took him to the gym and they tried to crush him under weights, and he was doing lunges and his legs wobbled and he fell, right? So the dive team didn't want him. So they was like, nah, you go back to the B team. And my team, we were in Helena, Montana doing a train up. We came back and we're just, regular looking dudes. We're not meatheads, right? Like we interviewed him, and come to find out he was a freaking swimmer in high school. He was an armor, and he was just smart freaking dude, even though he was little. Oh, we was like, dude, like we snatched him up immediately. And I remember this because myself and my buddy Chris, we kind of took him in, like we took him under our wings, and we made a monster out of this kid. And I remember we would have him carry hamburger sandwiches in his pockets because he was so small. Like we had him carry like sandwiches.
You had to send him down to Noah Steer, bro. You had to send him down the stairs.
Every time, like everywhere we would go. And this was just the kind of kid he was. Like he followed instructions to the T, and we learned to love him. Like everywhere he went, and we were there with him, we would just look at him and just tell him to eat. And then he would have to find something and then eat right away, right? So, dude, we'd be at the range, and my buddy and I would look at him and be like, eat. And he'll pull out a sandwich out of his pocket and he'll eat, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Wobbles passed away 22nd January 2019. Like I said, awesome senior Bravo, and dude, he's just a monster, right? So on this day, Wobbles, we're gonna celebrate you. I'm gonna have a couple for you. And again, folks, thank you for showing up and sharing your Friday evening with us. We always appreciate you guys. Yeah, to all the new members to the War Room, like I said, I know we have a shit ton of subscribers. We really appreciate you guys. And every Friday, man, we're here. Shout out to Jake. Shout out to Nate. Hopefully you guys are crushing it wherever you're at.
I'm going to leave you guys with a quote that night changed my life. And it's by John Wayne. And I've always loved it. And it says, courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Amen.
Sounds like a good place to end it, boys. Thanks for coming out, everybody. We'll see you next week. Make sure to catch us every single Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We will see you. Have a good one. We're out from the war.
Yeah, put 100 up against that paddle back there. Put 100 against that paddle.
We'll throw some dice when we get together.
All right, take care.